Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for tuning in with me today. So in today's video I wanted to share with you guys my top picks for bronzers that are suitable for people with a cool or a neutral leaning cool undertone, because summer is here. We all want to have that beautifully bronzed skin, and it's kind of like difficult for people who have a little bit more of a cooler undertone to really find a bronzer that suits their skin. Most of the time, the bronzers are just too orangey, they are too yellow, too golden, or they just have another different undertone that just does not look flattering on cooler undertones. Now, I personally do have a neutral leaning cool undertone. So to me, it is also quite difficult to find bronzers that work well for me. I actually don't really love it if a bronzer has too much of a golden undertone or if it just pulls straight up like orange. I really need something different. Meaning, if you have a cool undertone or even a neutral leaning cool undertone, this is the video for you. Because during my time on YouTube, I have been trying out so many bronzers, and I really try to pick a variety of bronzers that I personally love to reach for. So in case you are fair, light to medium, or even medium, I do have a great selection of bronzers for you guys today. So what I'm looking for in a bronzer that is going to work on my specific undertone is definitely a little bit of this warm rosiness without being over the top orange. I need a little bit of pink mixed into the bronze of it all. I really don't like it if a bronzer is over the top warm. I need something that is just a little bit warm, but not too much. But I also just wanted to let you know, this is not a video on sculpting or contouring products. I specifically chose products that are going to work as a bronzer. Because usually, the sculpting products, they do have a little bit more of a cool tone to them, a little bit more of like a gray sort of shade mixed in them. And I would highly suggest to you guys to actually check out my video that I did on my entire contouring collection. However, those are only cream contouring products. I'm going to put it up here in the cards. I'm going to link it down in my description box below. So go and check that video out, just in case none of the suggestions of today's video do speak to you and you do need more products to have a look at. I would highly suggest to head over to that video. In today's video, I only have a selection of 3 cream products. The rest are all powder bronzers. But also please do let me know in the comment section down below, have you tried out any of the products that I'm going to be featuring in today's video? I would absolutely love to hear your feedback. Did these products work out on you? Yes or no? I would be really curious to know that. And also please let me know, what is your undertone? I assume you might have a cool undertone in case you are watching this video. If not, just drop me a comment down below with your favorite bronzer. And also, in case you do end up enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And I would really appreciate it if you could check out my description box. I'm going to be linking all of the products, all of the bronzers featured in today's video down below. And I'm also going to be listing all of the products that I'm currently wearing on my face. So if you are shopping through my links, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, that truly does mean the world to me. So I am really excited to be sharing this, because I wanted to make this video for such a long time, because I just know how difficult it is for people with a cooler undertone to find a bronzer that is going to work on their face. And I found quite the selection, to be honest. There are quite a lot of products I've got in front of me. So I would say, without no further ado, let's just kick it off with the very first one. All right, so maybe let's just start off with a bronzer that is quite innovative by a brand that might be closing down soon. So if you are interested in this one, I would suggest not to wait around for too long, because I'm not sure how much longer they are going to be in business. And honestly, it's quite a shame, because I really did enjoy this brand. And I'm talking about the color correcting bronzer glint by the brand Illamasqua, and this one retailed for $45. Right now you can find this product online for a reduced price, like all of their products. They are heavily discounted, because I'm not sure what the future is going to hold for Illamasqua, which is such a shame, because I really feel like this brand was a pioneer when it came to kind of like innovative makeup. And I really, really have enjoyed a lot of products by them. So I'm going to show you this bronzer right here. This is actually the shade Light. Now I will say personally on me, this is more of a bronzer that I'm gonna use during the winter time when I'm at my fairest, because this one pulls quite light on me and I feel like I should have chosen the medium one, really. But just look at this bronzer. Isn't that quite innovative? So you have this shade right here, which definitely has like more of a pinkiness to it. And then we have the blue stripe in the middle and a little bit more of like a golden sort of bronzing shade. What I really love about this bronzer is the fact that because of this blue stripe in the middle, you can definitely cool this bronzer down as you wish. You can only use this part and you can only use this part, but I feel like this is very golden, so I would suggest to just look at the bronzer like this, really. Because if you have a cool undertone, these two shades are going to be your best friend. So because the pan is quite large, it's not a problem to actually avoid this shade right here. But you can also mix all of these three shades together and still get somewhat of like a cooler bronzing shade. And again, I might be picking up this one in medium before they are closing down. I honestly thought this would work on me, but as you can see in the footage, it's not quite right. I'm going to show you B-roll footage of all of these bronzers, okay? In case you have fair skin, you may love this product. And I feel like no one is talking about this. No one. But it is there. It is still there. So don't wait if you are curious about this, if you're interested in this. It's also a really pretty bronzer. Like the formula is really, really nice. It blends out beautiful. It's not over the top pigmented, so you can definitely build this one up. I mean, I had to build this one up quite a lot because it barely showed up on my skin tone. But if you have fair skin, I feel like this might be one to consider. All right, so let's continue with some suggestions for the fair skin people out there, because you know, sometimes I do buy bronzers and at the end of the day, they are just too light for me. I mean, that's, you know, the reason why I have the channel. In case something does not necessarily work out for me, maybe it's going to work out for you. Now, the next one is definitely a drugstore option. So this one is by Rimmel London and it's the natural bronzer. This one retails for approximately $8. So Rimmel London is a drugstore brand, and I mean, you know, if you are on a very tight budget and you have very, very fair skin and you were looking for something that is going to provide that beautiful warmth without pulling too orange, without pulling too golden, this is definitely a bronzer to consider. Look at that shade. I mean, on me, it is barely a bronzer, okay? But it might be for you. And this also has just a little bit of a sheen to it, not over the top. In terms of formula, it has a little bit more of a dry powderiness to it. It's honestly not the most elegant bronzer that I've ever tried out. This does come in 3 more shades other than this, but I'm not sure about the undertones of those other shades because I only have this and I have not really seen these other shades. I would have to go into a store physically to see them because nowadays you can't really trust, you know, the pictures online. That's why I'm also making this video. But if you were looking for a bronzer at a drugstore price and you have very, very, very light skin, very fair skin, this could be a great option. All right, so let's move on to the next selection of bronzers. And this is like a die-hard favorite of mine by a brand that is also somewhat affordable considering how expensive makeup has gotten over time. So this is by The Balm, and this is the Take Home the Bronze bronzer, and this retails for approximately $17. So honestly, this is the product that really inspired this entire idea for this video, because I did feature this bronzer in one of my best of drugstore / affordable makeup videos, and somebody commented underneath that video saying that they finally found the bronzer of their dream, that nothing was working on their skin, on their undertone in particular, and I was so happy about that. So I thought, you know, it would be great to actually have all of these bronzers in one video. So this is really a product that inspired me to make this video. However, I will say when I picked up this product back in 2020, they have since then changed the names of the shades, and I'm not sure about this, you guys. I really don't know if the shade that I initially picked up is the same shade that is available right now, because let me tell you, this is the shade Oscar. This is so old, it's so disgusting because I used to use this product non-stop and I still have not panned it. I don't understand. This actually does come with only 7 grams and I don't understand how I did not pan this just yet, but just look at how disgusting this one is looking. I mean, this is very, very old, and because I love this so much and this works on my skin tone so well, I made a decision to actually pick up a fresh one. And this one is now called Oliver. It's not called Oscar anymore. So look at this. The shade Oliver looks like this, and I'm not sure if these two shades are the same. I am not quite sure, but on my skin, they pull the same. So I do assume it's the same shade, and this only looks like that because it is so old. Okay. Now the thing is, with this bronzer in particular, this is called the anti-orange bronzer, and this really has this beautiful sort of pinkiness to it. Like, it just looks so good on like fair skin, on light skin, and on my skin. This is buildable. It's a matte formula. This does not have a sheen to it. It does not have a glow. And this works every time whenever I'm using this. I love it. This is such a good underrated formula, and I barely ever hear anyone talking about this, but it's one of my favorite ones. Another thing is that on their website, this product is continuously sold out. So I would suggest to head over to Amazon.com because I did get mine from there. And I don't know, on their official website, it's always just gone, especially this shade. Constantly sold out because this is, again, such a unique shade, and I can only imagine that this is loved by many because it's a great formula. It's inexpensive and it just looks amazing. I really have adored this for so long. But I also have another bronzer by The Balm that could be a little bit more suitable if you have more of a light to medium skin tone. So this one is the Balm Desert Bronzer, and this one retails for $21. Now this shade in particular is marketed as a bronzer slash blush. So a lot of people who have more of like a cool undertone, meaning like a pinker undertone, they might even be looking at blushes to do the job, right? Because as I said, most bronzers really do pull more golden, more orange in tone. And it's very hard to find something that has a little bit more of this plumminess without being over the top red, like warm red. This really has a little bit more of that cool toned rosiness slash plumminess to it without looking over the top warm. And it just works so well on my skin tone. So if you have more of a light skin tone, I would say go in sparingly, build this up slowly, and if you acquire a little bit more depth, you can definitely achieve it with this. This definitely has a little bit more pigmentation and more depth to it than this one, okay? But both of them are going to work so well if you have a cool undertone. And I really have been enjoying both of them quite equally. I would say the take home the bronze is just something that I can just pack on without being too careful, and it's always gonna look great on my skin tone. This one, again, if you have a little bit more light to medium or even a medium skin tone, I feel like this one would be a little bit better. I would not necessarily tell people with a fair skin tone to reach for this one. You may have to tap off your brush multiple times, go in very light-handed. It's not over the top pigmented, but I just feel like this has a little bit more depth to it, you know? So let's move on to the next product, and this is also a little bit more of a new product on the market. So this is the NYX Butter Melt Bronzer, and this one retails for $10. We were fooled by false advertisement. When you are looking at the picture that is online that was promoted, the first shades all looked really pink. You would assume that these have a pink undertone, and everyone who has a cooler undertone was literally so hyped up, like me included. I was very much like happy to see a bronzer that would kind of cater to an undertone that is just always forgotten, it seems like. And I did not know which shade I should pick up, so I actually did pick up the 3 lightest shades. So I have B01 Buttercup, I have B02 All Buttered Up, and B03 Deserve Butter. Out of these 3 shades, I feel like there is only one shade that is really suitable for people with a cooler undertone, and that is the shade 02 All Buttered Up. Also, the description online is completely wrong because this is actually described as a warm undertone. It is definitely not. This has quite some pinkiness to it. Now I will tell you, formula-wise, this is a powder bronzer. I thought because of the name initially it would be a cream. Oh no, this is like kind of like almost like a hybrid thing, you know. It does feel like a powder, but it's silky soft to the touch. And I feel like when this goes onto my skin, this definitely has somewhat of a pink undertone, but it's very pigmented. So I really have to religiously tap off my brush and build this one up slowly. Otherwise, this is just too much. And this is the second lightest shade, and it will show up quite intensely on my skin. Now, in terms of if you are confused too, I'm going to show you these other two shades. The fairest shade on me, it almost does not really show up. I mean, it looks a little bit pink, but it's not as pink as the 02 shade. Just look at that immediate comparison. This one has definitely a little bit more beige in it. It is very, very fair. And this one definitely has more pink to it. I'm going to show you these all applied to my skin tone. So I honestly feel like if you're interested in this product and you have more of a cool undertone, go with 02, although it's described as a warm shade, which is just another confusion, okay? But 02 is the way to go. Again, I really like these. These also have a little bit more of a sheen to them, not excessively, but these are not like a flat matte bronzer. They definitely do reflect the light a little bit, but also not over the top. But let's stay with NYX for one more product, one more kind of bronzer, but it's not really a bronzer, okay? This is actually marketed as a blush, but I really want you to know about this product, just in case you are not really vibing with these buttermelt sort of bronzers, because also I completely forgot to mention, these are actually fragranced. None of the other bronzers so far had a perfume in them, apart from this one. I completely forgot to mention this. This also has a fragrance to it, and it's not a particularly enjoyable fragrance, if you ask me. This really does just smell like cheap perfume, and this also, I don't really love the scent of these. I know some other people who really enjoy the scent of these. I'm not a fan of scented powders. It's not up my alley, but well, so I definitely do want you guys to know about the next product, and this is actually their Sweet Cheeks Creamy Powder Blush, and this retails for approximately $7. Because we are already talking about NYX, I thought, why would I gatekeep this product? Because this is very useful to me. I always use this product to do my nose, and I actually did use this one today on my nose. It's a blush, and this is the shade So Taupe. So what I love about this is a taupe blush. For some, this could be a bronzer. If you have very cool skin and you require something that is a little bit more on the sculpting side, but not completely gray leaning, I think this could be an amazing option. And listen, I tend to use this product if I apply a bronzer that just looks way too warm on me. If I go in with a bronzer where I feel like, oh no, this just does not look right, I use this and I put it on top of it. This is fantastic to do that with because this is not over the top pigmented. Definitely has the potential to cool down any warm tone bronzer without being too gray, without messing up your entire look. It is really fantastic, and this is also completely fragrance free. It is affordable, so I really wanted to share this product with you guys as well. All right, so let's actually move on to the next bronzer, and this is by a brand that I really truly love, and this was also a newer release. They basically changed out their old bronzer for this new bronzer, but I also want to talk about their old bronzer because that one was also pretty fantastic. So this one is by RMS Beauty, and it's the Redimension Hydra Bronzer, and this one retails for $35. This is specifically the shade Beachwalk Betty. They also have 3 other shades, but I don't really feel like those would be suitable for cool undertone skin. So this is the one that I do want to focus on. It is so beautiful. If you have ever tried out their blushes or their highlighter, fantastic. Now I'm actually wearing the blush and the highlighter today. I did not put this one on. I did use something else that is still gonna come up. But let me tell you, this formula is so beautiful. This is actually one of these baked gelée bronzers. So these are really not over the top pigmented, but you can really build these ones up and they are just gonna look so beautiful on your skin. These also have a little bit of a sheen to them. They are not over the top glowy though. This shade Beach Rock Batty definitely has like this beautiful rosiness to it. It has this pinky rosiness to it, but yet it's still a bronzer. Like it's still gonna give you some warmth and it's just gonna look so flattering on everyone who has a neutral to cool undertone and also a cool undertone. This really, really looks pretty. This does pull a little bit warmer than some of the other products, as you can see. But nonetheless, it looks really, really stunning. Like I love this formula. I love the fact that this is actually a refillable pan, so you can take this one out and buy a recharge for it in case you are panning it and it's completely empty. So that is another thing that I do love about this. I'm a huge fan of this formula in general. I love the blushes, I love the highlighters. I do have so many videos on RMS Beauty. I'm a huge fan of the brand, but this was really, really a surprise to me because listen, I was such a fan of their original bronzer, and I feel like that one is going to be discontinued. However, I would recommend this bronzer to people who have more of a fair to light skin tone over their other bronzer that is being discontinued. So as we are talking, I just double checked their website and I just was about to talk about their luminizing powder in the shade Madeira bronzer. And the thing is, yesterday this was still available, today it's sold out. I'm gonna be researching this a little bit, and if I do find this bronzer on a different website, like on a retailer's website, I will definitely link it in my description box down below. And you guys know, if you have watched my channel for a while, that this was one of my all-time favorite bronzers. So although, you know, this is a really, really good replacement, I'm a little bit sad that this got discontinued because this shade was so unique. This had a little bit more of a plummy, cool undertone to it. And it was really such a unique color back then. It was really tough to find a bronzer like this, and I am still loving this. This actually did come with some product. Fortunately, this is not available anymore, but if I find a link, I will definitely put it in my description box. But this also had a little bit more of a sheen to it than their new version. It was a little bit more pigmented than their newer formula. So I always did tap off my brush before I applied this. I really wanted to build this one up slowly. If you have a little bit more of a medium skin tone, I feel like you would love this. This is so good, especially if you have more of a cool undertone. And again, such a shame that they discontinued this one. And also, I don't feel like that they have taken this undertone necessarily one-to-one to their new shade range. Like this does not necessarily exist anymore. And this was definitely more cool toned, more on the plummy, had a little bit of purple in there, you know. Okay, so let's move on to another die-hard favorite formula of mine. And this is something I honestly cannot live without anymore. I feel like if I would lose all of these bronzers, this would be the one that I would just like run out and purchase like first. So this is by Hourglass and it's the Ambient Lighting Bronzer, and the full size does retail for $58. I know this is a luxury product, okay? This is quite like an investment for a bronzer, but I will tell you the full size actually does have quite a lot of product. This has 11 grams of product. Now, if you don't feel like you want to spend that amount of money on this bronzer, look, they have mini sizes, travel sizes that actually retail for a little bit less. I still feel like they are very much not a great deal, but if you just want to try out the shade, I would suggest that you would like pick one of the smaller sizes up, although these don't have much product in them compared to what you would get, you know, for the full size. Now, a small size actually only has 1.3 grams. So that is not a great deal, but if you just want to try out the shade, go ahead. And these do come in 4 different shades. And the shade that I would recommend, the shade that I'm obsessed with, is the shade Diffused Bronze Light. And the shade Diffused Bronze Light is actually described as a cool bronze shade. And I just love this bronzer. Just look at it. How much I love this. And this is actually the travel size. And this travel size lasted me for such a long time. Now I pant this whole thing. Nothing comes out of this anymore. Like, I can't pick up much product. I mean, the stuff like on the side, it's very hard to pick that one up. I pant this and I love it, and I feel like you can see the undertone very well. This definitely has some pinkiness to it. This definitely has a little bit of red in there, but not like an over-the-top warm red. It's so perfect if you have a cool undertone. This is so beautiful. Because this one is pant and empty and it's my favorite bronzer, I did pick up the full size. Finally, after all of these years. So here is the full size. I would say this is such a great bronzer. I love the shade. I mean, I applied it today, and also the finish on this, it has like a little bit of a sheen, not over the top glowy, looks so like lit from within. The powder formula is beautiful. This blends out like a dream. It is just hourglass at its finest. I mean, this is a hyped up product for so many reasons, and it's just so good. And if you are craving some luxury in your life, Hourglass, the way to go. I really adore this product, and I've said that so many times on my channel. I think you're sick and tired of me mentioning this bronzer, but I just love it. I think it's fantastic. It works on my skin tone so well. Otherwise, I would have not committed to the full size. Now, I did buy this one during a sale. I did not pay $58. If you can purchase this, you know, with your points or during a discount, during a sale, do that, because it's still a lot of money. But all right, so let's actually move on to the next one. So the next one is by Jane Iredale, and this is the Pure Bronze Matte Bronzer, and this retails for $44. Now, this one is also no stranger to my channel. I have raved about this product for a long time. This was also in my best of, I can't remember which year it was, but it was featured in one of my best of videos. And I really do enjoy this bronzer. I just feel like it's a little bit expensive, $44 without the packaging. You gotta buy this packaging separately, which kind of sucks. And I don't really love that. I will say that straight away. I'm not a fan of that. But this bronzer is so pretty. This is really great if you want a matte bronzer and you have more of a light sort of complexion, but you also have a little bit more of a neutral, leaning, cool undertone. I think it's worth it, you guys, although I think they should really make an effort to just sell the packaging with the bronzer instead of just, you know, doing that separately. It's just so annoying. But I really do love this powder formula. It is so smooth. It is just so buildable, blends out like a dream, and it just looks really fantastic. And I really do adore this, you know. This is such a great sort of bronzer if you were looking for a matte shade and you have more of a neutral, leaning, cool undertone. But all right, you guys, I have something else by Jane Iredale coming up at the end of the video, but let's just stay with the powders for a while. And I really want to talk about one of my recent discoveries as well. This one is so good. So this one is by Mob Beauty, and it's the Clean Matte Bronzer, and this retails for $26. I also feel like the $26 is without the packaging, but this time around the packaging is not excessively expensive, like not as expensive as the Jane Iredale one. I think this is quite like affordable packaging, to be honest with you. So Mob Beauty, this product, I actually only recently purchased this year. This is such an interesting shade, and this is actually the shade M36, and it's described as a rose taupe shade, and that is going to be perfect if you have a cool undertone. You are going to be loving this, especially if you have more of a light to medium, or even a medium skin tone. I think you're going to love this. If you have very fair skin, this might be a little bit too deep for you. Now, this is their lightest shade. That would be a little bit of a critique of mine. They should really make this, you know, available for people with a fairer skin tone, because I feel like this does have some depth to it, you know, but it's just so beautiful. I really love this formula. This is very buildable, and you can just blend this out without any hassle. It is just absolutely stunning. I would definitely recommend this shade. I mean, this looks really pretty on my skin tone, and I really think this is such a perfect sort of bronzing shade as well. So let's actually move on to the next one, and this next one, I promise you, I feel like if you have very pink skin, this is gonna be the one that I would suggest for you. This is such a unique shade, maybe the most unique bronzer out of this entire video. I mean, there are a couple of very unique bronzers in this video, right? But this one is unlike any other undertone of a bronzing shade that I've ever seen. So this one is by Jones Road, and this is the bronzer, and it retails for $34. Now this actually does come in 8 shades in total, and I'm specifically talking about the shade Dusty Rose. It is actually described as a tawny pink. Look at that. I know for some people this is going to be a blush, but for the people who have a pink undertone, a cool toned undertone, this is gonna be your best bet, especially if you have a little bit of fairer, lighter skin. Because look at the difference. Maybe Mob Beauty and Jones Road are worth of like comparing. This is a little bit deeper in tone than this one. I feel like this is a little bit lighter when it comes to the shade itself. That's why I said if you are very fair, this might be a little bit too deep for you. So try this one out. Because this one is so buildable. It looks so beautiful on the skin. I freaking adore this. This really does fill a gap in the bronzing market that was needed. Because I really feel like that this is such a unique powder formula. It's also a matte bronzer. It does not have a glow. This works perfectly on me as a bronzing shade. It is really pretty and I do adore this, and I really wanted to share this product with you because I feel like this is definitely worth mentioning if you were looking for a product like this. But all right, you guys, so let's move on to, how many do I have left here? I think there's only 2 more bronzers left. These are definitely more suitable if you have a light to medium or even like a medium skin tone. So let's maybe talk about this one. So this is the Kosas The Sun Show Bronzer, and it retails for $35. Kosas is also a brand that was featured many times on my channel. They had, I think last year, they actually did revamp their existing bronzer, and they actually did release this in more shades. Now this honestly is, as Bob Ross would say, a happy accident, because I actually did order this in the shade Beachy, and then I received the wrong shade by them. I did receive the shade Escape, and the shade Escape is actually their medium shade. So this one is the medium bronzer, and this definitely has more of that like reddish undertone without being completely red. This still has some pinkiness to it, but I really wanted the shade Beachy because, you know, I thought that this would be too deep on me. I mean, this is going to be too deep on me during the winter time, and I wanted to have this product also for the winter time, so I did pick up the shade Beachy, which is their light shade in hindsight. And I will say this is, it's borderline, maybe great for someone with a neutral undertone. I would definitely not say that this is the shade that I want to feature in today's video. I'm going to show this to you. It is a little bit more golden, but yeah, that's not over the top golden. I feel like this could be great if you have a neutral undertone, so I'm going to show you the footage of it because I filmed it. But if you have more of a cool undertone and you have a little bit more of a light to medium, even medium skin tone, I really think you should go with this one. And also this is a baked formula, so the very first time you are using this, be careful. Because when you dip in your brush, there's going to be powder everywhere. It's because it's a baked product, and it's also because of this domed sort of shape that this bronzer comes with. This is maybe the glowiest out of the bronzers that I have, but it's very pretty. This is also not over the top pigmented. So I thought initially that this shade medium would not work for me, but this is amazing for the summertime. Because of the undertone and because of the fact that this is not over the top pigmented, and I can slowly build this one up, like it's going to work on me, and it looks so beautiful. I really love it. I just think this is such an amazing product. All right, so let's move on to the last powder product for today before I'm going to be moving on to the 3 cream bronzers that I have for today. So this is by House Labs, and this is the Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer, and this retails for $38. I love this packaging. This is also a bronzer that I do adore. I love this shade especially for the summertime. I feel like in the winter months, this is gonna pull a little bit too deep on me. It's not quite right during the winter months, but this also has the broadest shade range of bronzers. This comes with 12 shades, and the shade that I would suggest, you know, for you if you have a cooler undertone, and they do also have some other shades, so maybe have a look at the website if you are not vibing with this. Maybe this is too deep for you, maybe it's too light for you, but this is the shade medium level 5, and the shade medium level 5 is described as a light medium with a warm rosy undertone. So yes, this one is definitely a little bit warmer, but it still works if you have a cool undertone and you want the bronziness, you know. Again, we're not talking about sculpting products. So if you want a beautiful bronze with that like beautiful like rosiness as an undertone, this is really beautiful. This is also like a baked gelée sort of formula, but this is more of a matte formula. This is not like the RMS one. I really like the pigmentation level of this. I really like this powder formula. This really almost feels like a creamy powder, and it's just so elegant on the skin. This blends out like a dream. I really love this shade. Again, this is more of like a summer sort of shade for me, but I really enjoy this powder and I've been using this quite a lot. I really, really do love it. I think it's amazing. And yeah, this would be the last sort of powder product that I have. And yeah, I think it's like maybe also this might be the warmest out of the bunch. So that's it for my powder recommendations. So let's actually move on to the 3 cream products. But again, I do want to remind you that I have a great selection of like contouring cream products in that video that I was talking about, where I did review my entire cream contour collection, and some of these products could definitely work as bronzers, but I really don't want to be repetitive, so I did include some products here that were not in that video. So this one is by Too Faced, and it's the Chocolate Soleil Melting, Bronzing and Sculpting Stick, and this retails for $35. This actually does come in 4 different shades, and I'm specifically talking about the shade Chocolate Mousse. And this shade, oof, I love this. I actually did apply this one today, and then I put my hourglass on top of this one. I used this before I did set my entire face with some powder. And I will say all of these other 2, the footage that you're seeing is me with an unset face. So if I'm shiny, or, you know, that's just due to the fact that I did not set my foundation. And I put this right on top of my foundation right before I did powder my face. But just rest assured, all of these products can be applied on top of powder as well. It just depends on the method that you prefer, how you prefer to apply your cream bronzers. So this one, first off, it has a scent to it. It does smell like Jaffa cakes. So it has like this chocolate meets orange type of scent. This bronzer really is creamy and it's pigmented. So don't use too much of this product. I mean, it's not over the top pigmented because you can blend this out like a dream, but it's a little bit more pigmented than I thought it would be initially. And this is just so creamy without being greasy. And especially if you have a light skin tone with a neutral leaning cool undertone, this is gonna be so beautiful on you. All right, but if you have more of a fair skin tone, or even like a light skin tone, and you want something a little bit more glowy, I have such an overlooked cream bronzer for you. This is so freaking beautiful, and I don't know why I've never talked about this, because I had this for the longest time ever. So this is by Menarsi 7. It's the bronze lighter in the shade Roseate, and it retails for $47. So this one is a little bit pricier, but this is also an all organic brand, and it does come with quite a lot of product. It actually comes with 13 grams of product, and this shade is so unique. I feel like if you have more of like a fair to light skin tone, you would adore this, but this is very glowy. It's very glowy, and when you get these products by Menarsi 7, I will say they are quite like balmy. They are quite like a little bit more dewy. They have quite like a shine to them, but I love this shade. This shade is so pretty. It is so unique, and it is definitely something that would work lovely if you have a cool undertone and you have more like a fair to light skin tone. If you have a medium skin tone, I don't think this is going to show up on you that much. Now, I personally also have to build this one up a little bit. It's definitely a little bit more on the shinier side, which honestly, I don't have many cream products that have a little bit of a glow to them. This one definitely does have that, so it's quite unique to my collection. I think it's a very overlooked product. It is really good though. I really love this because this is gonna stick around on your skin until the end of the day. It's not like a cream that is gonna disappear. And I will say, the longer you have this, the less balmy it's gonna get. So I just wanted to mention that though, because that could be a deal breaker. Just know that once this one has been opened up for a couple of months, it's not gonna be as oily as it is initially, like as balmy. It's not necessarily oily, but it's definitely more on the dewier side, okay? But I still nonetheless really adore this. I think the shade is so unique. And also this one is a product I never hear anyone talking about this. So I really hope I could help some people out if you are looking for like more of a glowy, dewy, sort of creamy product. So let's move on to the last product. And I will say this is a bronzer where I feel like this one is really suitable for people who have more of a neutral leaning cool undertone. If you have a very, very pink undertone, I would say this one and this one are definitely the better options, but the next one could also work. So this one is by Jane Iredale and it's the Glow Time Bronzer Stick, and this retails for $40. So we just talked about the powder bronzer by Jane Iredale, but they also have a stick bronzer, a cream bronzer. Now this one actually does come in how many shades? 3 shades. So the one that I have is actually the shade Sizzle, but there's also another shade called Scorch. And I will say Scorch almost has a little bit more of an olive undertone. It looked very unflattering on me. Whenever I apply this, I really do feel like this could be a great bronzing shade for somebody with a neutral leaning cool undertone. This formula is a little bit more like balmy. It's not quite as melty and as creamy as the Too Faced one, but it's also not completely stiff. This also has a matte finish. It is definitely not over the top dewy or anything, but I have to powder this one. Like with all of the cream bronzers, I kind of have to powder them after I've applied them. Whenever I'm powdering them down, they will last on me for quite a long time. Otherwise, I would have not included them because all of these bronzers are truly products that I definitely do adore. Let me know if you have tried out any of these bronzers featured in today's video, or if you have a cool undertone and there was a bronzer that I was not talking about that is also cruelty-free. Please do drop me a comment down below with your suggestion here, because I'm always curious to try out new products. But I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. And if you found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And until next time, please do take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.